Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started Together for Sharon.com in her memory and to advocate today for a cure for all those still battling PD and their families because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest, Navin, is somebody who means the world to me and so many of you. If you don't know his story yet and journey, I'm really excited. I'll joke with him later, but he's also a movie star. So grab your popcorn, your soda, and let's get right to the show. And again, I wanted to welcome you. Feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself, but it's such an honor to finally get to see and talk to you because we've had a long relationship as friends and never got this opportunity. So I'm thankful for this today.
Thank you, George, and hello, my friends. My name is Navin Kumar, and first of all, I'm very excited to be here. George is a phenomenal human being. I've been following his story of awareness for his mother's Parkinson's, and God bless him. He is just a genuinely good human being. Much respect to you, sir.
Means a lot.
I am. It's hard to describe. Who am I? I'm basically somebody who refuses to give up in life. I've faced countless struggles, which I'll go more in depth about, ultimately leading up to Parkinson's disease. And I refuse to let the tough times stop me from achieving my dreams in life and hopefully inspire people along the way.
No, I think your story, as we will unfold today, is just incredible. And we have so much to share. I hope we have time, but I do want everyone to know that even after our show today, this conversation cannot end until there's a cure. So please share this. Please support Naveen and all he does. He definitely makes me on tougher days want to keep fighting. So let's get right into it. I have a lot of things to share because we've done some things together. I want to thank you too for your work. But before we start, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your journey, and where it leads you today to be an advocate, also, not just about battling Parkinson, but also really motivating so many and being an inspiration around the world.
Thank you, sir. Again, my name is Navin Kumar, and I was born 51 years ago in a small town in Arizona. My parents came from India. My dad did his schooling at the University of Arizona for his master's degree back in the 1960s. And I was born later in 1973. At the age of 20 days old, I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. I wound up being diagnosed with a very rare congenital heart condition, which is basically a heart condition from birth. Mine was extremely rare, and I was not expected to live past the age of 1. And just 3 days ago, I turned 51.
Happy
So
birthday.
thank you, sir. So it just goes to show that we can defy the odds. And I believe we can do that with a positive attitude and, of course, a whole lot of prayer. But yeah, I was diagnosed at 20 days old with this heart condition. With this heart murmur. And throughout my life, I've had a total of 5 major open heart surgeries and an additional 18 heart-related surgeries. So I've been cut open so many times. I've asked them if they could put a zipper in me just to make it a little bit
Yeah,
easier.
no,
But
I think we might be in a little competition, but mine's in the back. So it's
oh my
just
gosh, yeah, they didn't like the idea, so we scratched that. But my father, when I was so, let me backtrack a little bit. So I told you 5 major open heart surgeries. The first 2 were in 1977. I was only 3 years old, and it was just a month after my younger brother was born. So here my mom and dad were, with the newborn baby. My mom had to leave it with the next door neighbor. We lived in Utah at the time. And she left my newborn baby brother with a neighbor so they could take me to Houston because of the risk. There was a very slim chance that I would even survive. I mean, it was pretty bad at that time, very stressful. I wound up having my first open heart surgery, and then I did not heal properly. And 2 weeks later, they had to reopen me back up for open heart surgery number 2. So after that second open heart surgery, I basically changed from a young boy who was probably in pain most of the time in his heart because I never smiled, never really spoke much. And my parents could tell that I was in pain. Well, I went from that kid to this kid that can't shut himself up and just keeps bubbly, smiling, talking. It was fantastic. And my name Navin happens to mean new. Kumar means prince. So I am a new prince. My ancestor's ancestor was a king in ancient India. So it all loops back, it all makes sense. But so I survived those first two heart surgeries. I would have three more later in life based on the nature of my heart condition, which leads me to the fifth open heart surgery, which was in 2001. It was 9 days after 9/11. I was engaged to be married at the time to a person who I thought would be the woman of my dreams. Well, I wound up surviving that surgery against major odds. I survived, and most likely because of that heart surgery and the possibility of stroke, micro level stroke, suffered from the heart bypass machine that I was put on. Chances are that caused enough brain damage, possibly to lead to Parkinson's. That is the theory right now. So, no matter how I got Parkinson's, the important thing is I have Parkinson's. So, in that sense, I have it, and it was quite a shock for me. In 2013, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and my main symptoms were a tremor in my right hand and a very faint voice. The faint voice actually wound up, I permanently reversed that symptom by singing more. I was a professional singer and violinist in my early years, and I got back into that, and my voice immediately improved. Think of it like your biceps. You want to make your biceps bigger. They're muscles. So you put the weights, you lift the weights and you get bigger. Well, same thing with the voice. If you have a weak speaking voice, my theory was that by singing, I'd be exercising my voice, and that would improve the muscle tone and everything. And here I am now. I'm giving speeches worldwide, and I forget sometimes that Parkinson's for a short time impacted my voice.
Well,
Would Oh, sorry.
no, I really appreciate it. Before you continue, I do have a little quote I just started, and it kind of reminds me of your battle and how incredibly shining you are on top of the mountain. But don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. So that was by Robert Kiyosaki. But as you're speaking, picture all these different images of inspiration going by, and it's again not just an honor to have you, but also really inspiring all that you also do.
So with regards to the Parkinson's, what's interesting is that my father, when I was 4 years old, this was just after my first two open heart surgeries. My dad knew that I would need to have some type of physical activity in my life, something that could relieve stress and also, help strengthen my heart, because at that time I was restricted with most activities. So table tennis wound up being the sport that my dad would teach me and I would play throughout my life. Little did I know that in 2014, I had already been diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2013. So I was going through a period where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, um, in terms of hobbies and what have you. So I got back into table tennis, and immediately I noticed well, I began to notice with the table tennis that my Parkinson's symptoms were improving. I did not experience my tremors while I was playing table tennis. And a lot of the other symptoms with the muscle stiffness, it went away. So I've really felt like when I play table tennis, I forget that I have Parkinson's, and it had zero impact on me. So I started in 2013, I started talking to various groups like I'm doing now, giving interviews and just sharing the fact that personally I have found table tennis to be a great therapy for Parkinson's. And then what was cool was that in parallel to me finding out about this and talking about it back then, there were other people in the world that had also figured out that table tennis would be a good therapy for Parkinson's. So, nowadays we have, Ping Pong Parkinson. That's an organization I belong to, where we compete. I compete on the U.S. national team for table tennis as part of Ping Pong Parkinson, and we compete all over the world at world championships and regional championships in various countries. And it's great because we all share the same fact that we all have Parkinson's and we're all getting benefit from Parkinson's. So I like to tell folks the true medal for me, honestly, isn't the medal. It's not the medal, but it's the attitude you get when you realize that you're representing your country. I'm representing Parkinson's patients worldwide. I refuse to give up. And it's the difficult times in life, for me, the Parkinson's, the heart issues, it's the difficult times in life and how we choose to deal with them that shape and define us. I can sit here and cry to you all that, I have Parkinson's, or I can say, you know what? I'm going to draw strength from having Parkinson's. Yeah, I have this issue and I take medication to help me and I exercise. But there's a lot of good that has come out of me having Parkinson's. I would never have met any of you people, like, had I not had Parkinson's, I would not be here today. And this is something I learned from all my heart surgeries. I've spent my whole life since childbirth in the hospital, and I've had to deal with major odds against my life. And when Parkinson's came along later in my life, by that time, the heart surgeries changed my attitude, changed my love for life. So when Parkinson's came, it was just another thing for me to kick its butt, like the heart issues. I refused to give up.
Well,
And sorry.
I love the motivation because, the goal of this show is if we even just reach one person in the world that feels alone or doesn't know that this table tennis can actually help. And we have another show that talks more about sports, which I would hopefully you'll come back on that one because it's very important. A lot of people still are not aware, shockingly, that exercise and things like ping pong can actually slow the progression of Parkinson's. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to not just talk to you, but call you family. I wanted to also do a few things as we continue the conversation. You might recognize this young man. I wanted to thank you and tell everyone listening, feel free to go to togetherforsharon.com, click interviews, and you can see a lot more on his incredible journey and also how to reach out and a lot more in depth, which unfortunately due to the time we wouldn't get to, but it's really amazing. Also a lot of resources. As we speak, I'll probably come back to this, but here is a beautiful movie from it's on ending Parkinson disease on their website about your story, which I love. I've watched it and I recommend everyone else also out there watch it. I'm going to come back and let that play as we talk. Also, we have so much to talk about, so little time. And you mentioned Ping Pong, also Parkinson, another incredible organization. One of their representatives will be also joining us in the future on the show. Also, you can join Navin on his incredible Instagram, which I enjoy because I'm a big horror movie fanatic, which you don't know yet. But I've probably seen I mean, my favorite times of the year is Halloween and holidays just for the TV, really not for the holiday itself. But here you can see some of the incredible movies he's been in, and I'm a big fan. And also on his U.S. Table Tennis Facebook, and also his Facebook, which I actually love because and I'm not sure if you want me to share it all, but it's so heart touching to
Sure.
see you with family and your daughter, and also playing the different like violin. I love some of those things. Also, when I scroll by, see that it really gives me encouragement to keep fighting. And also, as we mentioned earlier, and I hope maybe we could talk for a minute about how you got into the whole world of movies, entertainment, and you can see.
Absolutely.
And we'll start from there, I guess.
Sure. So in 2019, well, yeah, 2019 timeframe. By then, I had been speaking for about 5 years at various Parkinson's related events. I had spoken at heart related events, symposiums, um, meetings, what have you. I had been interviewed on multiple sites, all of which, if you Google bionic table tennis,
Mhm.
those three words, you'll be able to see a lot of those interviews and articles that have been written about me worldwide. The goal is never about fame, stardom, none of that stuff. Again, I consider myself by choice to be the bottom of the totem pole because I like to look up at people. I look up to everybody with respect. That's what it's all about. Always have humility. But I was a lot of my interviews, especially my television interviews, spread all over Facebook. And I wound up getting some folks in the film industry ultimately who were interested in having me be in their movies. So I had acted back in high school, and I feel perfectly natural in front of a camera or speaking at public events, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. And part of that is also because of the fact that I was brought up as a musician. I played the violin and sang for large audiences. So I just love to entertain people and get people to smile. That's my motivation for everything. So that led to me acting in movies. That has been an incredible experience. I did want to say this. This is a good opportunity to say this now. My life was actually cut short 2 years ago, which affected my movie making and even my table tennis for the last couple of years. For those of you that didn't know, March 25th, 2022, oh, sorry, December 25th, 2022, that's Christmas Day, I actually died. I was dead from cardiac arrest. This happened due to broken heart syndrome. So I had mentioned earlier that I married somebody who I thought was the woman of my dreams. Well, unfortunately, our marriage ended after 20 years, and my divorce was finalized in December of 2022. And I was, at the time, because I have two daughters, that was my first Christmas that I did not get to see them. And the pain finally took its full course on my heart. Within seconds, I died from cardiac arrest from ventricular fibrillation. And I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't move. And I remember those final seconds just thinking of my kids. And my arm was raised up in the air. They found me with my arms raised up in the air. I was at my parents' house. My brother happened to walk by and saw my arm up in the air. He's like, "What the heck?" So he walked over to me, and fortunately, because my heart's partly mechanical, my heart ticks. So he could actually hear my heart ticking, no, not ticking. And because of that, he put me on the floor immediately, called 911, did chest compressions nonstop for 10 minutes until cardiac EMTs arrived. And after 8 paddle shocks, 8, they brought me back to life. They could have stopped at 8, who knows? But they did 8 times. I came back to life. I woke up the next day, December 26th, and I was told that I had died and came back. So I feel like I'm a zombie, but I'm just thankful and grateful to still be alive. But it has affected me the last 2 years with I had because of if chest compressions are done properly,
Breaks the
you actually you're supposed to be able to break ribs. And while my ribs did not break, I had severe pain in my spine and my back, and I've had some scoliosis as well. So I've been fighting the pain, and it would hurt even when I play table tennis. So for the last year, I've been taking physical therapy, and I'm happy to say that I believe I'm finally good to go now with table tennis. I've started playing again, and I'm not getting any pain. So that is a very good sign. I refuse to give up, and I believe in listening to my body and always making sure I get enough rest. But even more important than that, I do want to share that a struggle for me since 2 years ago with the cardiac arrest and my divorce, I have been alone since that time. I live alone, and it was very tough for me because I realized that part of how we Parkinson's warriors, how we were able to deal with this disease is knowing that we have loved ones close by who can be our caregivers, who can help us when we're struggling, who can help me. In the middle of the night, I wake up and I start crying, and I don't have anybody to look at, to hold. And while positive attitude gives me strength, the sadness pulls my strength down. And for the longest time, I didn't have anyone. Well, I'm happy to say 4 months ago, I met the woman of my dreams, and she just left. She spent my birthday last week now. She spent it here with me. And let me tell you, having somebody who loves you, like her name is Jennifer, and you can see her on my Facebook page, that, George, has really helped me. I I feel so much stronger now with my heart. I feel like my Parkinson's has improved. I'm motivated to go back out into the world. I walk, I go to my high school track. I just walk around the track. Go to music events. I still play my violin. I sing. I love to dance. You get me on a dance floor, I'll promise you I'll be the first one out there. And the dance has helped my Parkinson's tremendously. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you all, if there's one thing you can take away from this interview, just realize that there's always hope, and we're not in this alone. If you have anyone you can turn to, a significant other, counselor, somebody that you can talk to when you're feeling down, if do it, because that ultimately will save you. There's strength in numbers, and feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk to people, but we're not in this alone. We're a family. In India, there's a saying in Sanskrit, where my ancestors are from, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means all of humanity is one family. And as a family, as a species, our greatest strength is being able to motivate and inspire each other and learn from each other. So please, we're not in this alone, and never give up the fight. Keep fighting the good fight, because I've died already, and I'll tell you guys, death. I don't remember anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that there wasn't anything after death, but I remember that flash of light, and then it was the next day. It was just nothing. So I know the destination, but it's the journey that we all must learn to do together. I mean, we're all in this together. Just enjoy it, keep smiling, live in love.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing all of that, and to send love and support to all those around you, physically, who support you. But remember, everyone listening in to you also are amazing guests. We love you. So you're always being thought of. And as many of you don't know, we speak a lot through online, like daily. And I'm glad he still loves me after all the speaking we do all the time. But you do become, it's odd, you become part of a family through social media, but then it can move to here. And then one day I do hope live. So someday I'm going to get instead of virtual hug I'm sending you, a real one. And again, I'm grateful for your friendship, and that all you do, and your words are stronger than just this show. And like I said, that's why I hope everyone will share this and support Navin and all he does, because I'm one of his biggest fans, following through and following his whole journey daily. Wanted to ask a few questions. You kind of answered so many of them without me having to ask, which was beautiful, but I'll have a few more. Can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
3 words to describe who I am. Positive. I believe there is strength in positivity. So I'm somebody who's not afraid to lose, and that's evidenced by the fact that when I play table tennis, for example, see, we're all focused on winning the game and getting the medals and getting first place. Well, for me, it's all about the journey, and I've learned that from my heart and Parkinson's, that it's the journey. So whether I win or lose, it's all about how I choose to pick myself up. If I do lose, how do I choose to pick myself up to continue that fight? I do it with a smile, and I believe that losing, that's my true win, because I can look back on when I lose, and I can say, okay, Navin, what did I do wrong in this match for table tennis? I should have moved quicker. I analyze my game, and I come back stronger and more positive the next day. So that's, in that sense, my true teacher in life is defeat.
Hmm.
And that goes with Parkinson's too. Yeah, we all have Parkinson's, but it's how we choose to pick ourselves back up every morning. Are we going to do it with, being depressed and sad, or do we do it with, okay, I have it, but I'm going to find a way to kick Parkinson's butt?
Mhm.
And for me, it's all about, I bombard my Parkinson's with different activities. So I'm always one step ahead of it. Whether it's table tennis, going for walks, exercise biking, dancing, what have you. It's all about staying physically active. If you can do that and stay mentally active as well, we're going to be ahead of Parkinson's.
And who is your hero and inspiration?
Oh my gosh. well, definitely my father in the sense that he saved my life as in my youth, bringing me into table tennis. And, he and my mother and my brothers always taught me the importance of having a positive attitude and, always putting in that time. Like nothing's going to be handed to me. You have to keep, you have to work towards what you want to do. Nothing is easy. Even getting this attitude of, being positive, it's not going to be given to you. You have to work towards it until it becomes a habit. And then once it's a habit, you'll be surprised what you can accomplish in life. So yeah, I would say my father and probably Jesse Owens as well, because just as an athlete, his story has always inspired me. And
Well, hopefully, if you're ever in South Florida, you'll come by because you'll be happy to know my wife and family just purchased this. See that?
oh my goodness,
It's a brand new one and it's sitting right there. My kids love it. Even with back pain, you can still play, but this is our brand new table for a table.
my my new home,
You're always welcome.
your table tennis table.
You will have a professional Olympian here for that. You probably won't want to stay long because you'll crush everybody here. So, this is a question that many people kind of are shocked, but you might have already been asked. But if you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it, and what actor would play your role? Except in this case, you might be able to play your role. But if
Yeah, that's
you aren't, who would be the person you'd want to be the actor to play?
yeah, that's actually funny you asked me this question because I'm actually in.
So I
That is
thought,
my goal. I've been asked by a lot of people to consider. Definitely, there's going to be a book because I believe my story can definitely help people, and I do so unconditionally. I'm not in it for any money or nothing like that. I just want to do what I can to help people, especially now that I've experienced death and realize the importance of managing what time we have left. So yeah, that the book is one thing, but I'm definitely looking at doing a movie as well. I would definitely play my role. I would have to have somebody younger than me, a kid or something, to deal with the younger scenes where, in life where I went through the surgeries and what have you. But the title, that's a good question. I don't want to
I
give
don't
away.
want you to, yeah, I don't want you to tell it if you're actually, most of the guests I asked are not going to have it. So just for fun, but you might, I don't want you to, what is the title you won't be using that you might want to tell?
I would say
Or you can get back to me another time in the title.
I would say honestly resilience,
I
the
love that.
story of Navin P.
Look at
Kumar.
that. That's the name of the book we just released, Voices. And you're one of the individuals that we highlight online in our
Oh
interviews.
my goodness.
Yeah. Actually, after my mother passed, I knew there were about 1 million people in the US, but it's kind of heartbroken when I found there were 10 million around the world, battling Parkinson. So we decided, or I did, that it wasn't just about my mother and I, it was about everybody, how we had to be a family in this fight worldwide. And that's when I started my journey of interviewing 1,000 people around the world, from India to Africa to England, France, Spain, Iceland, you name it, because I wanted to show that not only is no one ever alone, but we have to be again a family in the fight for a cure. And that's something that's how we met. So I'm glad, like you said, even though there's horrible times, tough times, there's also some positive. I lost my mother, who is always will be my best friend, but I wouldn't have met individuals who inspire me like you and so many listening. And that's why we do this. And together, it's just even more incredible in this moment. So really, again, so grateful for all you do and our friendship and beyond. I had one more question, even though I have millions. Actually, I have two more. Is
Great.
there any projects in the movies besides possibly the life story that you're working on? And is there an actor out there today or an actress that you would love to work with? Maybe they're listening. We can help Naveen get into the next movie starring role with one of those individuals.
Well, honestly, the actor who I would well, let me backtrack. The first part of your question, um, about movies. I am working on a movie right now with Tony DeGuide. He's my director. He's also my agent, based out of Chicago, Illinois. On a movie project with him, which takes place in the Wild West in the 1800s. And I'm
Yellowstone.
actually a character with Parkinson's disease in the movie. So that'll get a chance to hopefully get a positive portrayal of somebody with Parkinson's in the movie and really open people's eyes. That's something that's very important. I cannot give too many details about the movie right now. The name it's also may possibly change, not sure, but yeah,
Once
that's
it
my big
is,
project right now. And
once it's out, we'll support you, and I'll have my bag of popcorn and cookie dough waiting to watch.
thank you. But in regards to your second question, if there's an actor I'd like to work with, I think my unanimous choice, honestly, is Michael J. Fox.
Nice.
If he's listening out there, I actually know he may know of me actually already, indirectly, through a mutual friend who is also well known in the television industry, having competed in some various exercise related events. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping if there's ever the opportunity, at least to meet him, to meet Mr. Fox and thank him. He was always an inspiration to me. And it's so important in our profession as actors. A lot of times people think that, some actors may think, okay, I'm the top of the world, I'm above everybody, but that's not the case. We forget that actors, why do we do what we do? Ultimately, we do what we do to entertain. And when you want to entertain people, you don't want to be, you don't want to have an attitude where you think you're above everybody else, because that's going to affect your ability to entertain. And I refuse to be like that. I treat people with respect. We're all on this journey, and who the heck am I to consider myself above anybody else? I refuse to act like that. No matter how famous that I get, it's not about the fame. It's about, for me, this journey of being an actor is to show the world that even a knucklehead like me with Parkinson's, I can still achieve my dreams in life. But it all starts with having a positive attitude and the willingness to put in the time and the effort to reach your goals in spite of having Parkinson's.
Well, you kind of again answered my next question and the final one, but before that, please everyone help support Navin. I'm going to share all the links we mentioned earlier, so you can also take some time, share those, and follow him, like him. Actually, they need a button for love him, because I always joke with that. Some people you like, but some people you do love, and not just family. There's people who have become out there listening to my family too, and it's really just inspiring all that you do. And again, after we shut the lights and the cameras and the paparazzi leaves tonight after our show, we have to keep sharing this, because until the cure is at everybody's doorsteps around the world, this fight is just beginning. And last question for today is, and I hate saying last, to be continued. So the last, for now, this final question, but if you could leave the Parkinson's community today with some words of encouragement, which you already have, but add a few more, what would those be?
Words of encouragement. I would say basically what I was saying earlier about we're all going to fail on any given day. Any one of us can fail, or no, I don't want to say fail, but we can encounter negative things and it upsets us, and we're not able to finish the day on a positive note. That for me recently, that's been the fact that one of the things that accompanies Parkinson's is a strong risk of enacting. When you dream and you enact your dreams like vivid dreams, and whatever you do in your dreams, you wind up reenacting it. Like in bed, you might move your arms around. If you're punching somebody in your dream, you might be doing that in bed and stuff. Well, I've started having that, and that really annoyed me, and I wasn't happy about that at first. But now that I understand it a lot more and know that I can take there are certain things that I can take to alleviate those symptoms. I guess what I'm trying to say to you all is, yeah, we're going to have days that we might not succeed, but just realize that we're lucky because there's always tomorrow. So if today you fail, focus on coming back tomorrow, and if you fail again, fine. But if you don't fail, it's just keep trying. My motivation is to wake up and see that sunshine. And if I don't see the sunshine because it's cloudy, then I choose to be that sunshine and hopefully make an impact on people, because we're all in this together, and very grateful to be able to speak to you all. And I hope my message, if it's helped you, that's all I could ask for. And thank you.
I really appreciate it. And like I said, this is to be continued. It's not the end. We still have a lot more to do till everyone in the world literally knows about Parkinson's disease, helps us be aware, and shares the show and so much more that our amazing, beautiful guest has done. I won't rest, and I'm grateful. The little message to you, Naveen, and everyone listening: we love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Naveen, will advocate for you, and together I feel our voices are so much stronger. And I always end with, I'm just getting started, because even though I'm not, or even you aren't, there are tough times in all of our lives, whether it's multiple surgeries for open heart or back, or family, or divorce, or, it's a lot of tough things in the world, grief. We always keep trying to fight, but then when I see your story and all that you do, and our talks and many talks and texts and messengers, kind of almost pulls me back up like an old Jay-Z song, dust yourself off and just get up and keep going. And as long as you do that, I'll be right by your side until there's a cure at everybody's doorsteps around the world. And just grateful again for your time today and everybody listening, of course.
Thank you so much, George.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon and George, but please stay tuned. There's so much more to come, and there's so much more to experience, learn, and make sure that others also understand how important it is to have Parkinson's awareness and hope for a cure, because we won't need hope much longer if the whole world is understanding, supports this, donates to research towards a cure. So many great resources out there. I don't want anything in return except that you please support Naveen and all he does. And, in memory of my mother and all those we've lost, we're not going to stop. My mother lives on through Naveen, through you all listening, and that means more than the words can ever describe. So thank you again. Send our love, and we'll be back very soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Naveen.
Thank you.